Have you ever felt a wave of panic so intense, so overwhelming, that it feels like your body is screaming danger, even when your logical mind knows you're safe? Maybe it's the thought of stepping onto a plane, the sight of a spider skittering across the floor, or even the idea of speaking in front of a crowd. If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. And I want you to know you are far from alone. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects millions of people, yet is often misunderstood: phobias. This video is for anyone who feels like an intense fear is holding them back, for anyone who has ever been told to just get over it, and for anyone who is ready to understand the science behind their deepest fears and learn how to face them. In this video, we will explore what a phobia really is and the fascinating science of what happens in your brain and body during a phobic reaction. Most importantly, we'll walk through the principles of a powerful science-backed technique called exposure therapy, a method that has helped countless people reclaim their lives from fear. Critical disclaimer: before we dive in, it's incredibly important for me to say that this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you are struggling with a phobia or any mental health concern, please, I strongly encourage you to seek help from a qualified therapist, psychologist, or doctor. They can provide you with a personalized plan that is right for you. Understanding phobias, the science behind your deepest fears. So what exactly is a phobia? A phobia is more than just being scared of something. It's an intense and irrational fear of a specific object, situation, or activity. The fear is so overwhelming that it can disrupt your daily life. People with phobias will often go to great lengths to avoid what they fear. The National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH, reports that an estimated 12.5% of U.S. adults will experience a specific phobia at some point in their lives. That's millions of people who understand what it's like to have their world shrink because of fear. What's happening in your brain and body? When you encounter your phobic trigger, your brain's fear circuit goes into overdrive. A small almond-shaped structure in your brain called the amygdala plays a central role. Think of the amygdala as your brain's smoke detector. It's designed to quickly detect threats and sound the alarm. In people with phobias, this alarm system is hypersensitive. The amygdala sends a distress signal to the hypothalamus, which then triggers the release of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. This is what causes the intense physical symptoms you might experience: a racing heart, sweating, trembling, shortness of breath, and a feeling of impending doom. Interestingly, research has shown that in individuals with phobias, the right amygdala, which is more reactive to negative emotions, shows increased activity when exposed to their phobia trigger. Common myths and misconceptions. There are many myths surrounding phobias that can increase feelings of shame and isolation. Let's bust a few of them. Myth number 1: phobias are just exaggerated fears. Fact: a phobia is a diagnosable anxiety disorder. The fear is out of proportion to the actual danger and can lead to significant distress and avoidance. Myth number 2: people with phobias are weak or just need to get over it. Fact: phobias are not a sign of weakness. They can be caused by a combination of genetic predispositions, traumatic experiences, and learned behaviors. Simply telling someone to get over it is not helpful and can be invalidating. Myth number 3: you have to know the exact cause of your phobia to treat it. Fact: while some phobias stem from a specific traumatic event, many do not have a clear origin. The good news is that you don't need to know the cause of your phobia to effectively treat it. Up next, 3 science-backed techniques to begin facing your fears. We are going to explore the principles of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is considered the gold standard treatment for phobias. Specifically, we will break down 3 foundational techniques: graded exposure, the fear ladder; cognitive restructuring; and somatic grounding. Technique number 1: graded exposure and the fear ladder. A clear explanation of what it is. Graded exposure is the cornerstone of phobia treatment. It's a structured step-by-step process of confronting your feared object or situation in a controlled and gradual way. Instead of the jump in the deep end approach, which can be overwhelming, Graded exposure allows you to build confidence and skills one small step at a time. The central tool for this process is called a fear ladder or an exposure hierarchy, the scientific or psychological principle that makes it effective. This technique works primarily through a process called habituation. When you stay in a feared situation long enough, your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, eventually calms down. Your nervous system literally gets used to the stimulus, and the physical anxiety response naturally decreases. With repeated practice, another process called extinction occurs, where the learned association between the trigger and the feeling of panic begins to weaken. You are essentially retraining your brain, teaching it through direct experience that the feared outcome doesn't happen and that you can handle the feeling of anxiety. A detailed step-by-step how to do it guide. Step 1. Get specific and define your goal. First, clearly identify your phobia and set a realistic goal. Don't just say, "I'm afraid of dogs." Be more specific. "I am afraid of large off-leash dogs barking." A realistic goal might be, "I want to be able to walk through a park where dogs are on leashes without feeling overwhelming panic." Step 2. Brainstorm your ladder rungs. Now brainstorm a list of 10 to 15 scenarios related to your fear that you currently avoid. These scenarios should range from something that causes very mild anxiety to the ultimate goal at the top. Think creatively. You can use different variables like distance, duration, or context to create your steps. Step 3. Build your fear ladder. Organize your brainstormed list into a hierarchy. Rate each scenario on a scale from 0 to 100, where 0 is no anxiety and 100 is the worst panic imaginable. This rating system helps you create a gradual, manageable ladder. Let's use an example for a fear of flying, aerophobia. 10 out of 100, watching a YouTube video of a plane taking off. 20 out of 100, looking at pictures of airplane interiors. 30 out of 100, driving to the airport and just watching planes land from the parking lot. 40 out of 100, walking into the airport terminal and staying for 15 minutes. 50 out of 100, sitting in the airport terminal for an hour, watching people board their flights. 60 out of 100, walking down a jet bridge to a stationary empty plane, if possible to arrange. 70 out of 100, boarding a plane for a flight to nowhere that just taxis on the runway. 80 out of 100, booking a very short 30-minute flight to a nearby city. 90 out of 100, taking a 1-hour flight with a supportive friend. 100 out of 100, taking a 3-hour flight alone for a vacation. Step 4. Start climbing one rung at a time. Begin with the lowest item on your ladder, the one you rated a 10. Engage in that activity. The crucial rule is this: stay with the anxiety until it starts to decrease. Anxiety is like a wave. It will peak, but it will always come back down. If you escape at the peak, you teach your brain that escape is the only way to feel better, which reinforces the phobia. Step 5. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Practice that same step repeatedly until your anxiety level for that task is significantly lower, maybe half of what it was initially. Don't rush to the next step. The goal is to build mastery and confidence at each level before moving up. A Why It Works section explaining the benefits for their mental state. Graded exposure works because it systematically dismantles the architecture of fear in your brain. It empowers you by providing concrete proof that you are more capable than your anxiety tells you. Each step you conquer builds self-efficacy, a belief in your own ability to handle challenging situations. This process gradually shifts your mindset from "I can't handle this" to "I can feel anxious and still get through this." Modifications or tips for beginners. Start with imaginal exposure. If real-life in vivo exposure feels too intimidating, start by vividly imagining the scenarios on your ladder. Close your eyes and walk through the experience in your mind for several minutes. Break down steps. Even further, if a jump from a 20 to a 30 on your ladder feels too big, create a 25-step in between. Your ladder is your own, so customize it to fit your needs. Set a time limit. For your first few exposures, it can be helpful to set a specific time, like, "I will stay in this situation for 10 minutes. This can make it feel less overwhelming than an indefinite period. Technique number 2, Cognitive restructuring. A clear explanation of what it is. Cognitive restructuring is a core technique of CBT that focuses on identifying, challenging, and changing the irrational, fear-fueling thoughts, or cognitive distortions, associated with your phobia. People with phobias often engage in catastrophic thinking. They automatically jump to the worst-case scenario. This technique helps you become a detective of your own thoughts, examining the evidence for and against them to develop a more balanced and realistic perspective. The scientific or psychological principle that makes it effective. The principle is that our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all interconnected. An anxious thought? This elevator will get stuck and I'll be trapped forever. Directly leads to anxious feelings, panic, and avoidance behaviors, taking the stairs. By changing the distorted thought, you can interrupt this cycle and reduce the emotional and behavioral response. You are essentially updating the faulty software in your brain that is running the fear program. A detailed, step-by-step how-to-do-it guide. This is often done using a simple 5-step process. Step 1. Identify the situation and the feeling. Just like with the fear ladder, write down the specific trigger situation. Then identify the primary emotion you feel, e.g., fear, terror, and rate its intensity from 0 to 100. Situation. Thinking about giving a presentation at work. Feeling terror, 90 out of 100. Step 2. Pinpoint the hot thought. What is the specific automatic thought that flashes through your mind and causes the most distress? Write it down exactly as it occurs to you. Hot thought. I'm going to freeze up, forget everything, and everyone will think I'm completely incompetent. Step 3. Find the evidence. Now act like a detective and analyze this thought. Create 2 columns, evidence that supports the hot thought and evidence that does not support the hot thought. Be objective. Evidence for, I felt nervous during a presentation once before. My hands sometimes shake when I'm anxious. Evidence against, I have successfully given presentations in the past. I am well prepared for this topic. Most people are focused on their own work, not on judging me. Even if I'm nervous, it doesn't mean I'm incompetent. No one has ever told me I'm incompetent after a presentation. Step 4. Create a balanced alternative thought. Looking at the evidence, create a new thought that is more realistic and compassionate. This isn't about toxic positivity, it's about balance. Alternative thought. Even though I feel anxious about presenting, I am well prepared. I have given presentations before, and it has been okay. It's normal to be nervous, but it doesn't mean I will fail or that people will think I'm incompetent. I can handle feeling nervous. Step 5. Re-rate your feeling. Read your new balanced thought and focus on it. Now go back and re-rate the intensity of your initial feeling, terror. You will likely notice a significant decrease. A why it works section explaining the benefits for their mental state. Cognitive restructuring gives you a powerful tool to step back from your fear and observe it rather than being consumed by it. It breaks the spell of automatic negative thoughts and demonstrates that you have agency over your internal narrative. This process reduces anxiety by diffusing the catastrophic predictions that fuel the phobia, making exposure exercises feel more manageable and less dangerous. Tips for beginners. Do it on paper. Don't just try to do this in your head, especially at first. The physical act of writing it down helps to slow your thinking and makes the process more concrete. Ask a friend. If you're struggling to find evidence against your hot thought, ask a trusted friend to help you brainstorm. They can often see your strengths more clearly than you can in a moment of panic. Focus on one thought at a time. Don't try to tackle every anxious thought at once. Pick the hottest one, the one causing the most distress, and work through the process with just that thought. Technique number 3, somatic grounding exercises. A clear explanation of what it is. When a phobic response is triggered, you can feel disconnected from your body and your surroundings, a feeling known as dissociation or depersonalization. Somatic grounding exercises are techniques that pull your attention out of your anxious thoughts and back into the present moment by focusing on your physical body and your senses. They are powerful in-the-moment tools to manage overwhelming physical symptoms of panic. The scientific or psychological principle that makes it effective. These exercises work by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the body's rest and digest system. It acts as a brake on the fight or flight response triggered by the amygdala. By intentionally directing your focus to physical sensations, you interrupt the feedback loop of panic where anxious thoughts create physical symptoms, and those physical symptoms create more anxious thoughts. A detailed, step-by-step how-to-do-it guide. One of the most effective and discreet techniques is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method. Wherever you are, when you feel panic rising, pause and gently guide your mind through the following steps. 5. Acknowledge 5 things you see. Look around you and name 5 things you can see. It could be a pen on your desk, a crack in the ceiling, a leaf on a tree outside the window. Say them out loud or in your head. Example: I see the blue chair. I see my computer screen. I see the light switch. I see my water bottle. I see a book. 4. Acknowledge 4 things you can feel. Bring your awareness to the physical sensations in your body. Notice 4 things you can feel. Example: I can feel my feet flat on the floor. I can feel the soft fabric of my sweater on my arms. I can feel the cool surface of the table under my hand. I can feel my back against the chair. 3. Acknowledge 3 things you can hear. Listen carefully and notice 3 sounds in your environment. Example: I can hear the hum of the refrigerator. I can hear birds chirping outside. I can hear the sound of my own breathing. 2. Acknowledge 2 things you can smell. What can you smell in the air around you? If you can't smell anything, think of 2 of your favorite smells. Example: I can smell the coffee I just made. I can smell the soap on my hands. 1. Acknowledge 1 thing you can taste. Notice 1 thing you can taste. It might be the lingering taste of your morning toothpaste, or you can take a sip of water. Example: I can taste the mint from my gum. A why it works section explaining the benefits for their mental state. This technique works because it is impossible to be fully focused on your 5 senses and fully lost in catastrophic thoughts at the same time. It yanks your brain out of the future-oriented what-if thinking and plants it firmly in the reality of the present moment. This provides immediate relief from the intensity of panic and gives your logical brain a chance to come back online. Tips for beginners. Carry a grounding object. Keep a small textured object in your pocket, like a smooth stone or a piece of fabric. When you feel anxious, you can hold it and focus all your attention on its texture, temperature, and weight. Focus on your feet. A simple and powerful grounding technique is to simply press your feet firmly into the floor. Notice the sensation of the ground beneath you, supporting you. This can be done anywhere, anytime, without anyone knowing. Use cold water. If you are able to, splashing cold water on your face or holding an ice cube can be a powerful sensory shock that quickly grounds you in the present moment. Do's and don'ts of facing your fears. Do be patient with yourself. Overcoming a phobia takes time and courage. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge and praise yourself for every step you take, no matter how small. Practice relaxation techniques. Deep breathing, mindfulness, and progressive muscle relaxation can help you manage the physical symptoms of anxiety during exposures. Reach out for support. Consider joining a support group or talking to friends and family about what you're going through. Don't avoid your fears completely. While it's tempting, avoidance will only make your phobia stronger over time. Criticize yourself for feeling afraid. Your fear is a real and valid experience. Self-compassion is key. Force yourself into a situation you're not ready for. Pushing yourself too hard can be overwhelming and counterproductive. Rely on safety behaviors. These are subtle things you might do to feel safer during an exposure, like clutching your phone or only going to certain places at certain times. These can prevent you from fully learning that the situation is safe. Information on professional treatment and medication. While self-help strategies can be very powerful, for many people, professional guidance is essential. Therapeutic approaches, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, This is one of the most effective treatments for phobias. A therapist will help you identify and challenge the irrational thoughts that fuel your fear and will guide you through exposure exercises. Exposure therapy with a therapist. A trained professional can create a structured exposure plan and provide support and guidance throughout the process. Medication. In some cases, a doctor or psychiatrist may recommend medication to help manage the symptoms of a phobia. This is more common for complex phobias like agoraphobia and social anxiety. Antidepressants, SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, can help reduce anxiety. Beta blockers. These can help control the physical symptoms of anxiety, like a rapid heart rate. Anxiolytics, anti-anxiety medications. These may be prescribed for short-term use in specific situations. It is vital to have a conversation with your doctor to understand the potential benefits and risks of any medication. Precautions and potential dangers. Leaving a phobia unaddressed can have a significant impact on your life. It can lead to social isolation. Avoiding social situations can lead to loneliness and relationship problems. Mood disorders. People with phobias are at a higher risk for developing depression and other anxiety disorders. Substance misuse. Some people may turn to alcohol or drugs to cope with their anxiety. Impaired daily functioning. A phobia can interfere with your ability to work, go to school, or perform everyday tasks. Untreated anxiety can also have long-term effects on your physical health, including an increased risk of cardiovascular issues. Integration. Learning to face your fears is a journey, not a destination. Here's how you can make these strategies a sustainable part of your life. How to make it a sustainable habit. Start small. Choose one small, manageable step from your fear ladder to focus on each week. Anchor to existing routines. Can you practice an exposure exercise after a habit you already have, like brushing your teeth or making coffee? Track your progress. Keep a journal of your exposure practices. Note your anxiety levels before, during, and after. This can help you see how far you've come. Mix it up. Once you've mastered one step, don't be afraid to try variations of it. Find social support. Share your goals with a trusted friend or family member. Having someone to cheer you on can make a huge difference. Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. There will be days when you feel motivated and brave, and there will be days when your fear feels overwhelming. That's okay. The key is to be kind to yourself and to keep taking those small, consistent steps forward. Conclusion. Today we've learned that a phobia is more than just a simple fear. It's a complex interplay of our biology, our experiences, and our thoughts. We've seen how the brain's fear response can become overactive, but we've also discovered that we have the power to retrain our brains. The journey of facing your deepest fears is one of the most courageous things you can do. It's a path that leads to a bigger, richer, and more fulfilling life. Healing is possible, and it starts with the belief that you are capable of change. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to Mental Wellness Insight for more science-backed wellness tips. Share this video with someone you think might benefit from it. You never know who you might be helping. And now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these techniques will you try first? Share in the comments below.